Yow! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. I'm here with Jared from Good Feels game?
The Good Mood Creator.
Good Mood. I knew there was some emotions involved in there.
Close.
And we're about to talk about his game Mekazoo, which I saw a little bit about Power of Play, and looks like you guys are onto a good path, and you said you've been developing it for like 3 years?
Yeah, it's been about 3 years. We all went to DigiPen school in Redmond, Washington together, and all formed our team there, and kind of started experimenting with things there, and kind of the exact moment that it became kind of a professional project, I guess is kind of fuzzy, but around and probably beginning in 2013. So
cool.
Yeah, while we were still in school, and we restarted it in Unity, and
that's awesome.
Became what it is today.
Did it kind of start as a school project for you guys, and then kind of evolve towards this, or kind of just an offshoot of being in that environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think both. Like, definitely, like, being in that environment, it just, like, every kind of class project you have, you kind of are thinking, how can I apply it to, like, what are my ultimate goals, you know? So there were a lot of class projects that just kind of inspired little ideas here and there that ended up becoming Mekazoo. And then our kind of main team project for our junior year was kind of a first, very archaic version of Mekazoo in our own engine, and that kind of spawned, you know, we saw what we could do with that, but the limitations of student project, own engine, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And decided to restart it kind of outside of school, and that's kind of where we were able to start fulfilling our potential.
Nice, nice. So how do you summarize Mekazoo?
I mean, it's a 2D platformer in a 3D environment. Simple controls, not a lot of buttons. Unlock animals each world, kind of Mega Man style. Beat the boss version and then unlock it. Gain its powers. They all move very differently. Then you combine them in pairs. Switch at the touch of a button. And that kind of provides a lot of different combinations of gameplay. And yeah, I mean, it's fun. I like it. It's actually evolved in a way that I'm really, really excited for it to play it myself. So.
That sounds good. Can you watch out for that? Yeah, no, that sounds good and interesting. So do you pair up, like at a time, or when you start the level? What's the restriction there?
You start with just one unlocked, and you gradually unlock one at a time each world, and each section of each level, basically each checkpoint, you have a set pair, or 1 to 2 animals that are set for that section. And each level section is designed like very specifically for that pair, you know. So, and that's why we limit you. Also, for the sake of just not having a lot of buttons, we want you to just think like, do you want to switch or not switch? What do I want to switch to, this animal or this animal or this animal? We don't want you to think that much. You know, it's a flow experience.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, and but then if you come back later, as after you've unlocked animals, you come back to earlier levels, and then there's new areas available with those new animals that you've unlocked. So yeah, there's actually a lot of depth and replay value.
That sounds like a good way to kind of let you go back to those early levels. Exactly what you're saying, replay.
Sure. Lots of motivation.
Cool. Well, let's go to that trans.
The transition and it's too long, so it's not playing anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to give it to me, and I can put it on here. Kyle? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You want to switch back to webcam then, and we'll get this. Or it is running the transition and it's just black. That's what's happening, Gabby? We're blacked out? Oh man, we got blacked out.
It's always technical difficulties.
Always technical difficulties. So thanks for staying with us in audio mode for a few minutes here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. So, I mean, is this your guys' obviously it's a pretty big focus for you guys. Do you guys have anything else that you guys are working on as well, or this is pretty much?
We want to get Mekazoo in as many hands as possible, so we'll be porting it to the portable consoles and then adapting it a little bit further for, touchscreen, phone, iPad, and all of that. We have a lot more planned after that. We're never going to stop. So.
Cool, good. So at least in the background, okay, there we go. Well, we'll start this over here since we're at the beginning, and just take a good peek at this. Unfortunately though, I don't think we're getting audio through.
So good.
Yeah. At least we get the party hard music in the background, but we can talk about this since we don't really have any audio going on this.
Sure.
And
what do you want to know?
Man, still just kind of taking it in right now. I see like, you know, grappling hooks.
Yeah, so you recognize a lot of the mechanics. You've seen a lot of them before, and I think, you know, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. We know that there's a lot of things we like about tried and true platformers, but we wanted to kind of like make our own expression of it. Kind of, this is like the amalgamation of like our dream platformer. Like we're all like about 30, like late 20s. We grew up with like Super NES, Donkey Kong Country, Sonic. And, you know, this is like our dream like evolution of that. I feel like that's how I kind of started it, kind of vision-wise, and I feel like that's kind of where we are, at least in my opinion. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, there was definitely a good time there with platformers where everybody was trying to do it, you know, and there's a bunch of kind of weird ones that got out there.
Of them, Bubsy, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then the, you know, transition to 3D for some people and some franchises.
Right, but you have there's something, and the reason we never wanted to make this Mekazoo 3D platformer is because of that. You add that dimension, and you have like you're trying to simulate, you know, 3 dimensions on a screen, and you have that whole depth perception problem, and jumps are so much less precise, and you can think so much more and stop what you're doing. And this is just, you know, backwards, forwards. You have the visual 3D, you know, so you have it, you know, it doesn't feel flat, but you have the simplicity and the flow of just orthogonal controls, you know, so it ends up with kind of a really nice feel to it. Yeah,
and certainly, I mean, you know, Mario has transitioned to 3D with the Galaxy series, but at the same time, they've realized that there's something about the 2D
they're two
aesthetic.
Totally separate franchises.
Yeah, at this point.
And they both deserve to be continued. And it's not, you shouldn't just make your 3D version of your game and then forget about your 2D. You've now just doubled down and branched off, and you need to like kind of nurture both of those.
You guys definitely, I mean, just watching Asus games, you know, rolling through it, and you know, the camera rotating and working with it, definitely it seems like you guys got that great balance of that 3D, 2D, you know.
Right. I mean, you're always striking the balance of playability and, you know, beauty. So
you guys.
For beauty, you know, you wanted as zoomed in on the characters as possible, show off those animations and like in that close up right there. You know, you can't see that and also play a fast-paced, challenging section. You know, because that doesn't work. You got to see further ahead of you. So we do, you know, things like swing the camera around so you can kind of have almost that like over-the-shoulder view sometimes, but it still retains that simple, you know, left-right control scheme. So it feels good.
Definitely. So then how many characters are there, like, total between, you know, your capabilities to switch between?
There's going to be 5.
5. Okay, cool.
Each one is really like developing its own totally separate game. That was really like our scope. Like our scope was determined by like how many animal mechanics do we feel like, because each one has totally different art, animations, you know, rig, moves, controls, physics, everything, and then they all need to be combined with every other one to be able to switch between them and retain, you know, maintain your velocity and make it feel right and seamless.
Right, and the puzzles and whatnot, which you know, right now with what a lot that we're seeing is not too many switching back and forth, or maybe even just my inability to monitor it. But you know, this one we're seeing them switch between the frog to do the grapple hook, right, and then the kangaroo off the wall jumps.
After a while, like you might watch the trailer, especially when it's zoomed out, especially because they're all the same color at the moment, at least.
Right.
It is sometimes like almost you don't even notice. It's just kind of, it's your move.
Oh,
you know?
Okay. I just saw him go through that checkpoint when he switched to the armadillo.
Back and forth. And really, I mean, definitely for this gameplay trailer in particular, we made a point to, you know, switch often. So it's and that's when Mekazoo becomes really fun, is when the switching just becomes second nature. And and you just are kind of flowing through it, and the only buttons are, you know, action or switch, and then move, and you know, that's it. So it becomes like become one with the controller, and so we also have multiplayer, just local co-op.
Oh yeah.
So that is just so one player controls the movement and action, and the other player has the switch button, so they can press switch, and then it swaps. You know, so they take control of the animal, and then the other player gets control of the switch.
To swap,
and it's only local. You have to be sitting on the couch, you know, with your partner. So you have to actually verbally communicate. And it's really interesting, actually, because after you've each played through the levels a couple of times, you know which animal is, you know, optimal to be in each situation, and you kind of get into this like hive mind with your partner. It becomes really interesting and fun.
No, I bet that's interesting. It's like the Mario Kart double dash, you know, to a certain degree.
Right, exactly. Where you're kind of each controlling half of your character.
Yeah. Cabby, we're getting some feedback here through something. I think it's maybe just
Let's get engaged.
There we go. I kicked it. All right. Anyways, so let's talk real quick. I picked out 3. We got the frog, so that's like grappling hook. We got the armadillo, which is kind of Sonic-y, rolly. And then we had the kangaroo, which looked like wall jumps, or maybe
wallaby.
Wallaby. Okay.
Right.
Nice.
So the wallaby is perpetually bouncing. So it's a bouncing
ball.
And that actually, you know, speaking of kind of where it came from, that started as a prototype that I made at DigiPen, like a 2-week prototype called Everball. That was just a ball. It was kind of the idea of a basketball with like an invisible hand,
right, dribbling
it. And it was just a ball bounced through just colorful, like random environments. And you just press down to bounce harder and forward and backwards, and that was it. And that's exactly what the wallaby has become.
Nice.
And
that's cool.
Funny, like that was my dream game, to make Everball, but the professional version. And I quickly realized I could do that like in a semester, and this is what it evolved into.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, definitely. Having the character options is really interesting. So then what are the other 2 that we got on there?
Yeah, so I mean, we haven't shown, because I mean they're in great shape now. We're still, you know, polishing them up. The panda bear and the pelican or stork, whatever you want to call them.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll just say those 2 words.
Sure.
And leave it that for now.
Sounds good. Yeah. That way, the people that are interested in this game, you know, not reveal all the
I know I
secrets
personally
to
am
it,
very sensitive to spoilers, and I want people to be able to get info without feeling like we're spoiling it.
Yeah, for sure. I got one of my buddies is boycotting all Star Wars information right now. You know, but this is a really cool game. I really like the platform stuff. What's your guys' timeline on this? Because I know it's been.
We're looking at April now, but cool. I mean, we're gonna do this thing until it's perfect and finished. We're treating it like an N64 cartridge release. No, we don't want to have to patch it. Like our plan is probably like to start working on sequel in lieu of working on things like DLC and stuff like that. So like we're kind of taking an old school approach to it, kind of the approach we miss and remember from our childhoods. And so April is what we're shooting for right now.
Very cool. So then just another kind of randomy question just about your game and what you guys are doing. Like, is it difficult to make levels for it? It seems like all your levels are really aesthetically pleasing, or do you just like sketch it out 2D wise and then start wrapping it around 3D objects?
Obviously, it's a multidisciplinary process. So we have the concept artists and the level designers really working. It's you kind of have to they kind of have to find this point where the concept artist starts doing a paint over that's vaguely like what the level's laid out like, but you really can't capture it until you really start to make assets and put them in, which is definitely difficult, like before you actually see it. But we really try and start with level design and what feels best and kind of art it, based on that. But it's really, it's in Unity, it's a 3D engine, and then it's a spline that just wraps through the world, and the character just locks that spline. The camera locks along with it, unless we, customize it. Right. So it's really, it's not the kind of game that's easy to just say, all right, here's the level editor, everybody, and like make your own levels. We're not going to be doing that anytime soon. And we have amazing level designers, and like they know exactly at this point like what a fun Mekazoo level is.
Awesome.
And
that's important.
Yeah, and it's important to me that like everyone who becomes a fan of Mekazoo plays a lot of Mekazoo as it was originally intended, like level design wise, before they take a crack at designing their own levels. Kind of how Mario Maker is just coming out now, 20 years later or whatever. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, awesome. Any final words from you that you want to get in about Mekazoo?
I think just, look for it early next year.
What's the best way for people to find you? Or, is it...
you can go to goodmoodcreators.com. You can always Google Mekazoo. There is a clothing maker in Turkey, I think, also called Mekazoo.
Oh.
shout out to him. Thank you for not suing us or something.
Excellent. Yeah.
So,
probably all right on that.
Yeah, but Google can go a long way. Luckily, we have a unique title.
Definitely.
Not like John Smith or something like that. So
Yeah.
type in Mekazoo and see what you find.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for it. I look forward to seeing the release of your guys' product on in April on Steam. You guys are also going to be Xbone, PlayStation, Wii U, you said as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that'll work out real well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure, Jared. Thanks for joining us.
Cool, thanks.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll just take a quick little transition here, but we got our next piece of content lined up, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.